That was one of the most fun things that I've ever gotten to do, was be guest editor at Vanity Fair. You know, it's one of those things that you throw out there as a suggestion. Why don't you let me edit one? You just don't think they're gonna let you do it.
This piece here was 1992 or something. I think I had Photoshop 2.0. I was the only photographer that I knew that had Photoshop.
The best part of the day, though, was in order to get that attitude from Steve Martin, you know, he was, pretending to be the tour guide. He started doing the voice that he does like in The Jerk.
You were going into a world where all the dysfunction, all the pain, all the stuff was like right there. And every cliche that I'd ever seen in a prison movie was there.
I've had the rare opportunity to meet many amazing photographers who move through the different landscapes to create powerful images. I'm always inspired by how these images transform the way we see people and understand the world. A great photograph needs no explanation, but on Capture, these incredible people tell the story of creating their most memorable images. I'm Mark Seliger, and this is Capture.
Hi, I'm Mark Seliger, and welcome to Capture. On the show today, I am extremely lucky and fortunate to have two people who I adore. Judd Apatow, incredible filmmaker, director, writer, producer, and my friend Matt Mahurin, illustrator, painter, filmmaker, photographer. It's great to have both of you here and looking forward to our conversation. Judd, we worked on the comedy issue together for Vanity Fair, and we talked about everything. You looked at every single photo. So you were not only an editor-in-chief, you're also a photo editor.
My resume is getting thicker.
Yeah.
That was one of the most fun things that I've ever gotten to do, was to be guest editor at Vanity Fair. It's one of those things that you throw out there as a suggestion at a meeting at Vanity Fair, like, why don't you let me edit one? You just don't think they're gonna let you do it. And then you think if they're gonna let you do it, they're not really gonna let you do it. It's gonna be kind of in name only, but they actually let me get deeply involved. And it took about 6-7 months, the whole project. And when it ends suddenly. Like there's like one day where they go, we're locked. And then suddenly they don't talk to you ever again.
Yeah, there's no more phone calls.
It feels like you were fired.
Now you know what the actors feel like on a film. When they're done, goodbye, thank you, off the set, good applause, and then you continue on. They're like on a plane back home saying, God, I hope it works.
Here's your $2 billion.
Exactly.
And,
$2 billion.
And when you get that like weird nervous breakdown people have, like I guess if you shot a movie for 4 months as an actor and it just ends, but it ends on such a dime. But with an actor, it's worse because you just don't know if they're going to use your good performance or your bad performance. Maybe you're about to be humiliated by the movie. Maybe you're going to be winning awards. So that vulnerability of that must be brutal.
Matt started off as a painter, and your early work had a photographic quality to it, but it was not in camera. It was all just on canvas painting, and then you turned to painting on photographs. Was that the next process?
Yes, this was a piece for Rolling Stone on gang members, Bloods and Crips. So I went to LA, met them in downtown LA, shot them, and then took those photographs home and used them as a basis for creating the image.
This was pre-computer.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, this image here, this was me in my apartment. I just basically took a picture of myself, kind of chomping into my arm. And then I made a print, and then I painted blood, and I painted the bomb in, and the shadows, and kind of scumbled this and drew back into it, and then rephotographed that, and then printed it as a photograph. This piece here was an early Time cover, like 1992 or something, and I think I had Photoshop 2.0. I was the only illustrator or photographer that I knew that had Photoshop, and so that's actually me. I painted my beard white, and you actually had long hair, and this is my hair sticking out underneath from the bald wig. Changed the color of my eyes, and my girlfriend came home, and there's Freud in the apartment. I looked like a combination between my dad and Freud, so that made for some fun. When I did this, and I brought it into the editors at Time magazine, they said, where'd you get this picture of Freud? There were no colored pictures of Freud. And I said, this is me. And I used myself. And this is how far it's come, is that the editors of Time could not grasp the concept that you could go in and take a picture and move it all around and do this stuff to it. And basically, they were so nervous and didn't really believe me that it was me, that when they did the inside, they credited the Bettman archive, because they figured I used some reference material, when in fact, I just looked at it, but this is me, you know? Anyway, so that's what it turned into, and then I started using myself. This is me, another time cover on caveman, early man. So I would take a picture of myself, very basic Photoshop things, and just change the scale, and I put a little makeup on me, and then the hair and the ears, that stuff's all drawn. And the cool thing about this image is that the reflection of my eye is actually the New York City skyline. So it's almost like this man, ancient, kind of looking back into the future.
The best part of the day, though, was in order to get that attitude from Steve Martin, you know, he was, you know, pretending to be the tour guide. He started doing the voice that he does, like in The Jerk.
He wrote something in it, and he would not tell me. I said, "What does it say?" And he said, "I'm not going to tell you." And I walked out on the street, and the first thing, I stopped a person on the street, Rue de Rivoli, and I said, "Well, what does this say?" And they said, "To Matt, in memory of a tormented afternoon." And I was just like, that's it, man.